Hello everyone, how's it going? And welcome to the release of Nilah, a brand new AD carry that has just been released for the Soul Fighter event on Wild Rift. I've taken a look at the Soul Fighter event as well. That does look very cool, so make sure you check out the Soul Fighter event. You got new skins, gacha, and also the new champion Nilah. In this video, I'm going to be showing you everything you need to know about Nilah, whether it's the abilities, the build, combos, how the champion works, and how she is different from PC League, because she is very different to her PC League of Legends counterpart. So some of the abilities can be a little bit confusing, but I'm going to explain it as simple as possible to you. And one of the abilities that has changed from PC League is the passive Joy and Unending. Now, it doesn't give you experience like it does in PC League. All it does is after an attack crits, Nilah heals herself for 20% of the damage dealt. Excess healing is converted into an equivalent amount of shield that lasts 6 seconds. So what you'll be able to do with Nilah is get a huge, massive shield. Now, the shield that you're about to see is both her passive and also from Bloodthirster. Look at this insane shielding that you can get with Nilah. Nilah is one of them champions that's very similar to Samira. She's a melee based champion that likes to jump in and get in the face of enemy champions. So this shield and this amount of healing that you can get with Nilah is super important, and this will kind of relate to the build a little bit later on that I will show you. But the shield is absolutely huge. As you can see, Nilah's attack range is not the longest at all, but look at that shield. You can get a huge amount of shield there for Nilah, which again will help her out a lot when she's dashing into fights. But again, she doesn't have the XP bonus like she does on PC League. So that's one thing to remember if you've come from PC League to try out Nilah on Wild Rift. Now, for her first ability, very long description, but honestly it's not that hard to understand. Basically, Nilah has a passive on her first ability which allows her to gain a percentage of her current crit rate as armor pen, so she'll be able to deal more damage to champions that are going to be building armor. More armor pen is very nice for AD carries, especially someone like Nilah. Now, with her first ability, the active, Nilah cracks her whip in a straight line, dealing physical damage to enemies hit along the way. Every 1% of crit increases damage by 1%. So the more crit you buy with Nilah, the more damage you're going to be dealing. Now, after your first ability is hit, Nilah gains attack speed and bonus attack range, and her attacks also deal 100% of physical damage to enemies in a cone for a few seconds. Damage against non-champions is reduced by 80%, which is kind of, not really, important to really understand. I will leave the last part until a little bit later on. So all this is your first ability. You can see it's just a straight line. It's not the longest, but as it mentions, if you hit it, you can hit it in a straight line, and it can hit multiple champions. Now, the great thing with this is that it doesn't actually reduce damage to multiple champions hit. So you can just use this. Look at this, 669, 669. So you can actually do the same amount of damage to multiple champions at the same time if they are grouped together. Now, as it mentions, when you use your first ability, you're going to get auto attack range. So this is my auto attack range at the moment. As you can see, it's very small. When I use my first ability, you can see my auto attack range is a lot bigger, and you can see my auto attacks are now a cone. So it's actually really important during lane phase to use this ability not only for poke, but also to increase your attack range to try and trade against enemy champions, or to try and last hit. Because Nilah is a melee champion, it's very difficult, kind of like Samira in a way, to try and last hit against some of these long range AD carries down in the bot lane. So make sure you use your first ability in the lane phase to poke, but also to gain the extra attack range, and also that cone as well, so that you can see that cone effect can attack multiple champions at the same time, and also you can attack multiple minions at the same time. So you can use this very effectively. I'm still blown away by the shield, by the way, from the passive, but you can use this very effectively to push waves, but also to deal damage to enemy champions. Again, we'll leave the last part until we get to the third ability, because it kind of is to do with that. Jubilant Veil, Nilah's second ability. So Nilah envelops herself in mist, in envelopes. I don't know why I said envelops. Nilah envelopes herself in mist for 1.75 seconds. During this, she gains movement speed and also becoming magic damage taken. Let me restart that. Sorry, it's 1 a.m. It's getting late. Nilah envelopes herself in a mist for just over 1 second. During this, she gains movement speed, reduces incoming magic damage taken, and also is immune to non-tower attacks. So you can kind of relate this a little bit to Gwen's second ability. Gwen's second ability that gives her that big massive area, that's kind of like Nilah's second ability. You basically immune to any auto attacks, and also you can take reduced magic damage. That's if you get hit by any abilities, which is really good for Nilah, because when you drop low on health, you can use this ability and get that insane healing from your items and also your passive, which is really great. If there is one allied champion nearby, the nearest allied champion gains the same effect and the duration of the effects, and Nilah again is extended by 1% if you have a nearby ally. So your second ability, you can see this is my base movement speed. Look how much extra movement speed you get with your second ability. It's crazy. And as it mentions, you can also get it to your nearest allied champion, which can be quite good for when you're trading in the laning phase. It can be really good if you're going in for team fights as well, and also just to get into lane quicker. You know, extra movement speed to get to lane quicker is also very nice. But the big thing is the reduced magic damage, but also you being immune to auto attacks. I cannot stress enough how huge it is in Wild Rift to be immune to auto attacks. It's absolutely crazy. It's a really powerful ability, and something that will allow you to get around the map quicker and also allow you to survive, again, because Nilah is a melee champion. Now, something else that is different from PC League to Wild Rift is Nilah's third ability, Slipstream. Now, Slipstream in Wild Rift, you have to use on an enemy champion or an enemy unit, or an allied champion or an ally unit. In Wild Rift, however, you can use this ability freely. This gives Nilah so much more freedom. Like, it's actually an insane change. You can use this third ability over walls. You can use this on enemy champions, obviously, to deal the damage. But the big thing is that you can use this ability wherever and whenever you want to. So this makes Nilah super safe during laning phase. You don't have to rely on someone like a unit or a champion standing behind you. You can just use this to dash away or dash forward if you really want to play super aggressive. But take a look at the ability. Nilah dashes forward for a fixed distance, dealing physical damage to enemies she passes through, and empowered attacks reduce the cooldown of this ability by 1 second. So the empowered attacks work with your first ability. So empowered attacks basically mean any attacks that are different from your normal auto attacks. So using your third ability, if it goes on cooldown, you can use your first ability, and that empowered auto attack that does the AoE thing that I was explaining earlier, that will reduce the cooldown of your third ability. Now, cooldown is further reduced by 1 second after hitting an enemy champion, and hitting any unit will also refresh this ability's cooldown. Now, cooldowns cannot be refreshed again within 10 seconds, and if no unit was hit, it immediately enters cooldown. Now, another important thing with this ability, which I don't think it actually says, is this ability has pretty much 2 charges. That's basically what this means. This ability has 2 charges. So if I put this on 0 CD, if I use this ability on the target, you can see it goes immediately on cooldown. If I use it again, you can see it then goes on a 10-second cooldown. But if I use my first ability and my auto attacks, look at that, the cooldown's going lower. So I can just keep doing this, and your first ability is going to be such a low cooldown that the empowered attacks are going to be so like quick. You can just keep using this over and over again, which is really big. So again, big thing with Nilah's third ability is that it does have 2 stacks. You can dash anywhere you want to. So you can just go dash forward. If you hit an enemy, you can also dash forward again, and then it goes on cooldown. But it can be reduced if you use your first ability and then using your third ability. So the big thing with Nilah is you kind of want to use your dash first before you use your first ability if you're looking to engage into a fight, because then you can use the dash again if you really feel like you need to jump away or even jump forward to try and get some more kills. Now, going back to the first ability, there is something with the first ability that you can combo with your third ability, very similar to Samira. So when your first ability is cast during Slipstream, which is Nilah's third ability, Nilah leaves behind a wave that is sent forward towards a forward, dealing equivalent amount of damage to all enemies hit. I'll explain how this works. So with Nilah's third ability, if you dash forward, it just does a little effect, and it just, you know, hits the enemy champion that's right in front of you. If you use your third ability and then your first ability, you can see it actually extends the third ability, and you can actually hit champions in front of you. See this target dummy at the back? I'm actually hitting that target dummy. Now, if I don't use my Q, I won't be able to do anything. You know, I won't be able to reach that target dummy behind. If I do third ability into Q, there you go. Really, really cool combo, really quick combo that you can use to actually extend the range of your third ability, but you don't actually move to that to that direction, or move that far, or dash that far, I should say, if that makes sense. So that's why I wanted to go back to the first ability when I explain how Slipstream works. But Slipstream is so cool, like just being able to dash through walls now is so nice for Nilah. I mean, I don't know, it's just absolutely crazy. Like, I love it. I'm absolutely in love with this change with Nilah. That it makes her so much more fun to play and so much safer to play as well at the same time. Now onto her ultimate, which her ultimate, I guess, is like a Katarina and a Samira. Again, Nilah is very similar to Samira in a way. So Nilah whirls her Welt Blades, dealing physical damage continuously over 1 second and reducing the enemy movement speed by 10% for a few seconds. Now, when keeping her Whip Blade, Nilah also deals physical damage and it pulls nearby enemy champions towards her, and Nilah can also heal for the bit of the damage dealt. Now, to basically explain this again, there's a lot of complication, but honestly it's very simple to understand. All it is her ultimate. I'm going to not use it with target dummies. So you can see the ultimate here is like a little bit of channeling, and then after the channeling, that's when the enemies get pulled together. So you can see here at the start, I'm going to use this ability. It's not going to pull the champion straight away, it's going to pull it after you do it. So you do it and then boom, pulls them all together. And you can see that big massive shield I got, by the way, as well, because again, it's excess healing. So look, big massive ulti, and you pull enemies towards you. So you could do something really cool, like use your third ability into your ultimate, and you can pull a lot of enemies together. And again, the excess damage, if it doesn't heal you, will turn into a shield instead, which is absolutely huge. Now you can, I believe, use ulti flash if you want to. That's actually kind of a cool combo. You could do ulti into flash. I don't think you can use your other abilities. Yeah, see, you can't use your other abilities when using your ultimate. You can only use your second ability. That's the only ability that you can use. So make sure that you use other abilities before, but you can flash and you can use exhaust when channeling your ultimate. You just can't use your third ability or your first ability. So you can do something like flash R, which also reduces their movement speed if you really want to do that. But you can do a really cool effect if you want to, and just do R and then flash at the last second just to pretty much surprise them. So you could do like R into flash and then dash away if you want to, and they get that crazy auto attack range and that crazy healing. Like, look at that. I have a shield that is more than my HP bar. That's how crazy this champion can be. But again, she's a melee champion, so she is very difficult to understand. Now, I think that's pretty much everything with her abilities that I, kind of remember. I don't think there's any that you think that they haven't really explained with the abilities at all. There is like a few combos that you can use with Nilah. The main one is being able to dash in with your third ability. I believe, is your third ability an auto attack reset in Wild Rift? I wonder. I think it might be. I think that might have been quicker. Auto attack, third ability auto attack. That might have been quicker. Sometimes you actually cancel your auto attack, which is kind of annoying. But I mean, the big thing with Nilah, as I mentioned, is being able to use your dash first, like dashing in, using your second ability to get the extra movement speeds, and then using your dash again. There's not really any like crazy combos that are gonna break, make or break Nilah. The big thing with Nilah is just making sure that you use your dash effectively. Make sure you dash actually to the enemy target dummies, or to the enemy champions if you actually want to deal damage to them, or make sure you actually dash over walls, because you can actually get blocked with your dash, and you actually sometimes can't go over the wall. So make sure you bear that in mind. Yeah, I think this is so cool just being able to do this, by the way. It's so cool. I absolutely love it. But yeah, big thing with Nilah is making sure that you dash in with your third ability first, and then you can reduce the cooldown of your dash if you want to with your first ability. Make sure you auto attack in between as well, because you're going to get a lot of damage, and then use your ultimate right at the end to get that huge massive amount of healing and that huge massive amount of shielding. Right, let's take a look at the build order for the ability order, I should say, with Nilah. At level 1, and I think it's pretty obvious, you're going to go for your first ability at level 1. to not only poke during the laning phase, but also to gain that little bit of extra attack range and AoE attacks, so you can get that laning priority early on, which is going to be very important for Nilah, because you don't want to, you know, take these long trades because of the range of other AD carries will just completely destroy you. Your third ability, no surprise, is going to be your second ability that you're going to get. Being able to dash forward or dash away to safety is very important for Nilah. Then your second ability becoming available, again, make sure all abilities available when you can get them. And maxing your first ability first is again going to be no surprise, because this is one of her main damage sources on top of her auto attacks. Then you want to max your third ability to make sure that you can, you know, use the dash and use it really, really effectively, and then level up your second ability last and level up your ultimate when available. But again, Nilah is very, very similar to Samira and Katarina in a way, where she doesn't really have a lot of combos compared to Katarina and Samira. She's not as combo heavy as the other two, like Samira and Katarina rely a lot on their combos. Nilah's more of like, you know, if you can dash in and use your combos, but you can just stay back and auto attack if you really feel like you need to. But again, you have very, very low attack range, even with your powered auto attacks. Now with a build for Nilah, this is going to look very similar to a Samira build. You're going to go for items like Immortal Shield Bow to give you that lifeline passive, and also to give you a lot of physical vamp. Nilah loves physical vamp. Like, Nilah absolutely loves physical vamp. I think physical vamp is absolutely really, really important for Nilah to make sure that she can heal, because again, it's kind of similar to Samira, where she likes healing as well, because she's going to be dashing into melee range a lot. So overall, Immortal Shield Bow is great. Infinity Edge for the damage and also the crit rate, being able to increase our crit damage as well, is going to be very, very important, because we're going to go for a full crit build, not only for our auto attacks to do more damage, but also for our abilities to do more damage. As for the boots, Gluttonous Greaves is going to be really good. I don't think you need that much attack speed for Nilah. Nilah's not really that important with attack speed. You don't really need it too much. But yeah, Gluttonous Greaves is going to be great. Again, more Omnivamp is really, really nice. But Bloodthirster as well. Again, another Omnivamp item. Being able to use this is going to be really, really nice. You've got attack damage, you've got crit rate. It can also be very, very good. Then you have your Armor Pen item. Now, even though Nilah does get Armor Pen from her abilities, you still need Armor Pen. It's still vital to make sure you get Armor Pen, and this also means you're just going to absolutely shred tanks with this. It's going to be absolutely crazy. And then you can go for Guardian Angel. Now, a few other items that I've been thinking about that you can maybe use for Nilah, Solari Charge Blade actually might be very, very good, because you're going to be, you know, using your abilities quite a bit, especially your third ability and also your first ability. But the thing is, like, Nilah doesn't really need attack speed. You know, I don't think attack speed is really that important. Collector is going to be very, very high risk, high reward. If you want to go for that sort of play style, you can do. But Solari Charge Blade can be very, very good. You know, you can go for items like Collector if you want to as well. Essence Reaver, I don't think is going to do too much. I don't think your ability damage is going to mean that much for you. And that's pretty much it in terms of, you know, other situational items. Obviously, you can go for Mortar Reminder, and then for like your final crit item, maybe go for something like Phantom Dancer, just get more attack speed. Can also be very, very good. Now for the runes, Conqueror is going to be your main rune. You don't need lethal tempo. Again, you don't need attack speed. Conqueror for stacking up the damage and also giving you the physical vamp to heal up is going to be really, really nice for Nilah. Now, she doesn't actually need brutal. Now, this is a big thing with runes. So for the precision tree, she doesn't actually need brutal. Brutal is pretty much non-existent on Nilah. You know, during the laning phase, you're not going to be auto-attacking enemy champions a lot. Nilah's all about dashing in and getting into melee range, but you can only do that at certain points. You know, you can't just freely dash in, auto-attack trade, and then dash away. You know, it's going to be very, very difficult to actually use it effectively. So I think Triumph allow you to get heal and also restore mana is going to be quite nice. I think it's the best option here for the precision tree, the first row. Now, I was thinking Last Stand would actually be really good for Nilah, again, because she's a melee champion, so she's going to be dashing into range. But with the amount of healing that we have in our build, and also the overshield that you get now from Nilah's passive, I actually think Coup de Grace could be better, or even Giant Slayer if he gets a lot of tanks. So I think you might very rarely drop low on health, and I think it might be better to get the extra damage from Coup de Grace. But again, pretty flexible which one. You can go here, and then Legend Bloodline, again, for the Omnivamp is going to be really, really important for Nilah. I've said it many, many times already, but Omnivamps can be a lot better than Alacrity or Tenacity. And then actually for your Resolve tree, now I haven't tested it just yet because obviously Nilah just came out, On PC League, Second Wind is very, very good for Nilah because Nilah works as a melee champion and Second Wind actually works really well on her. Now, I'm not too sure if in Wild Rift she actually counts as a melee champion. We'll have to wait and see, because I think the main thing is, you know, with Second Wind, if you do get poked a lot, if you are against a double range matchup in the bot lane, then I think Second Wind could be very good because the effect might be doubled. Again, we'll have to probably test that when we play some gameplay of Nilah, which will probably be some time tomorrow. So that's everything for Nilah, all the builds, combos, everything else that you need to know. Obviously the abilities, everything you need to know, all in one video, which luckily wasn't too long. So hopefully you enjoyed it. Take care. I'm gonna go get some rest, and I'll see you all in the next Wild video. Peace.